New Year's horror stories. New Year's Eve, the threshold between the past and the promise of a fresh beginning, unfolded with the warmth of loved ones, the shared laughter, and the sweet anticipation of the moments yet to come. The atmosphere within the house was filled with joy as guests clinked glasses and the air resonated with the melodies of shared stories and music. Little did I know that this night, which began so promisingly, would evolve into an unforgettable nightmare, leaving an undeniable mark on my consciousness. The clock inched towards midnight, and the excitement in the air reached its zenith as the first fireworks of the new year illuminated the night sky. Stepping out into the frigid air, the biting cold was momentarily forgotten as the breathtaking display above captivated my senses. It was during this awe-inspiring moment that I first noticed him, a rag-clad homeless man, hunched and shaking, standing outside what seemed to be his meagre dwelling. A surge of compassion mixed with discomfort as I beheld this solitary figure. His presence seemed to disturb the festive air, and I couldn't ignore the nagging sense of unease that clung to me. He appeared disabled, his movements erratic, and he muttered words under his breath, creating a mysterious undercurrent in the otherwise joyous night. Despite the inner conflict, I chose to remain an observer, standing at the threshold of the front door, torn between empathy and caution. The homeless man's gaze shifted, almost magnetically, towards our house, and his indistinct grunts took an alarming intensity. It was as though there was an unseen thread connecting him to our home, a thread that beckons my curiosity. Unsure of the nature of this connection, I decided to keep a vigilant eye on him for the safety of our front porch. As the minutes ticked away, the man remained an eerie silhouette against the backdrop of the night, his eyes fixed on our house with an unsettling intensity. Driven by a mix of courage and concern, I decided to confront him, to bridge the divide between our worlds, stepping into the frosty night. I called out tentatively, "Hello." Our eyes locked, and I could sense the intensity of his gaze. A noxious blend of booze and decay wafted towards me as he uttered indistinct words, prompting a retreat born of instinctive apprehension. In an unexpected turn, the homeless man moved with a sudden burst of vigor. His arm extended towards me, making contact with my neck. Shocked and startled, I stumbled backwards, rushing inside the safety of my home. Panic gripped the gathering as I secured the doors and urgently dialed the authorities. The party had transformed into a scene of fear and uncertainty, with the haunting image of the homeless man's crazed face lingering in my thoughts. Time seemed to stretch into an eternity as we awaited the arrival of the police. When they finally came, they combed through our home meticulously. To our horror, they discovered the homeless man within our sanctuary. Their assurances of apprehension and transportation to a facility brought a semblance of relief. But the night had already been tainted. The New Year's celebration we had eagerly anticipated became a blur of anxiety and unease. In the aftermath of the incident, the spectre of homelessness assumed a more prominent place in my thoughts. This unsettling encounter became a catalyst for introspection, a reminder of the unforeseen darkness that can disrupt even the most joyful occasions. It prompted a broader reflection on societal issues, urging me to contemplate the fragility of happiness and the need for collective efforts to address the root causes of such harrowing experiences. The stark contrast between the anticipated revelry and the chilling reality underscored the importance of cherishing life's joys and remaining vigilant to the lurking horrors that can unexpectedly manifest. It was a poignant lesson in empathy, compassion, and the recognition that even in moments of celebration, we must not turn a blind eye to the shadows that can encroach upon the light. The New Year's Eve that had begun as a celebration of new beginnings transformed into a profound exploration of the delicate balance between joy and sorrow, light and darkness. The undeniable memory of that fateful night became a guiding force, urging me to advocate for societal change and to approach each moment with heightened awareness of the complexities that shape our human experience. New Year's Eve dinner with the Anderson family has always been a time-honoured tradition, but this year's gathering took an unexpected turn. As we sat down at the table, the room was filled with a cosy atmosphere, the smell of roasting turkey and the anticipation of midnight. We made each other happy and there was much laughter and joy. Our neighbours, the Andersons, were a lovely family consisting of John, Sarah, and their adorable 5-year-old son, Tommy. The night went smoothly until Tommy's sudden scream broke the peaceful atmosphere. The sudden crash turned the scene from joy to horror. In the chaos, everyone stood there in horror, their eyes trying to comprehend what had happened. John and Sarah rushed to their son and tried to comfort him, but Tommy's sobs continued, echoing throughout the room like moving music. Tommy, what's up, mate? Can you share your fears? John's concern was obvious, but Tommy remained silent. Her screams seemed to express unspeakable horror, as if she had witnessed something unimaginable. The passing moments felt like an eternity. Tommy's pain was lost on everyone in the room. Fear, confusion, and pity hung in the air like a thick fog. My heart raced as I tried to imagine the worst case scenario. Then suddenly I started to hear Tommy screaming. He went from sad, anxious child to a mute and confused child. His eyes, filled with remnants of fear, scanned the room as if trying to make sense of a lifeless dream. Sarah whispered to her son, hugged him, and asked him if he was okay. He nodded slowly. The fear that passed through him was indescribable. The discomfort continued as we tried to make it through the night. There was an inevitable transition from joy to excitement. No one had the courage to speak about the incident. Our dinner conversation became tense and cautious. An unspoken question hung in the air. Why is Tommy suddenly angry? Despite our best efforts, we were unable to determine the cause of Tommy's collapse. The Anderson family is troubled by the mystery surrounding their son's unexpected reaction. The New Year's Eve dinner that had started so hopeful has now cast a long and terrible shadow over our minds. The impact of the night lingered, baffling the inexplicable as my previous joy counts down to midnight. My smile fades and I remember Tommy's cries. The atmosphere was filled with unspoken fear, a common uncertainty that bound us all. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and the question remains unanswered. Why was Tommy so scared on New Year's Eve? A terrifying mystery has become the subject of suffocating conversations between neighbours and friends, shattering a once thriving sense of community. John and Sarah consulted experts, child psychologists, and even paranormal investigators to solve the mystery. They searched the internet for similar stories, but nothing seemed to explain Tommy's inexplicable fears. A small town that once felt safe has become a place of whispers and rumours as speculation spreads among the residents. Years passed and the mystery remained hidden. The Andersons left their New Year's Eve dinner with unanswered questions that linked her to a horrifying and traumatic experience. Memories of that night haunt us, reminding us that some mysteries cannot be explained, leaving us with the uneasy feeling that we can struggle with the unknown and leave some things unexplored. To the rest of the neighbourhood, Tommy's unintelligible screams became a cautionary tale. We shared it in hushed voices during our nightly fireside chats. Some believed it was a supernatural encounter, others believed it was the resurgence of a repressed memory. The small town, once known for its close-knit community, is now wary and suspicious. Later, Anderson's former home attracted attention. Occasionally, locals pass by and take a look at the house, as if expecting to discover secrets hidden within its walls. Time has passed, but the secrets and fun still remain at that fateful Lunar New Year meal. Occasionally, someone reports seeing strange occurrences in their home, including flashing lights, strange noises, and a strange sensation lingering in the air. It remains unclear whether these stories are based on actual experience or the result of an overreactive imagination fueled by the city's collective fascination with obscurity. As the year and decades passed, the story of Tommy's inexplicable screams became part of the town's history, a story passed down from generation to generation. Once thriving communities are now shrouded in unease and mystery, and the lines between reality and legend are blurring. Although the Andersons have long since moved on, the impact of that unforgettable night remains in the city's collective memory. The story of Tommy's scream reminded me that in the quiet corners of our lives, there are mysteries that defy explanation, experiences that linger in the shadows and forever haunt the edges of our understanding. The atmosphere on New Year's Eve was electric, a palpable anticipation that hung in the air like the scent of fireworks waiting to be ignited. Eagerly, I welcomed the turning of the calendar by hosting a small gathering of friends at my place. Laughter and the melodious clicking of glasses filled every nook and cranny of the house as we counted down the seconds to midnight, a chorus of voices shouting in unison. However, as the clock struck midnight, marking the beginning of a new year, the celebration took a strange and horrifying twist. The doorbell rang, disrupting the revelry that had reached its crescendo. In my slightly inebriated state, I stumbled over a field of empty bottles to answer the door, expecting a late arrival or an enthusiastic neighbour joining the festivities. To my surprise, a man in a tattered police uniform stood on the porch, illuminated by the porch light reflecting off his badge. Officer Daniels, as he described himself, reported an anonymous tip he had received regarding illicit funds hidden within my residence. Bewildered, I tried to make sense of the situation. Illicit funds in my home? It seemed preposterous. Officer Daniels, however, persisted, emphasizing the need to search the premises to follow up on the lead. He displayed his badge once more, his gaze shifting from my face to the lively scene inside my home. He expressed a preference on conducting the search discreetly, as to not cause disturbance among the guests. My mind raced, attempted to reconcile the joyful celebration inside the ominous presence at the door. Reluctantly, I allowed him entry, all the while maintaining a facade of normalcy. Officer Daniels began his search methodically, going through drawers and inspecting closets. Despite his official appearance, doubt lingered in the back of my mind. Something about the situation felt off. He seemed nervous, perspiration bedding on his forehead, even in the cold weather. As he delved deeper into his investigation, his questions became increasingly invasive. He inquired about the location of my valuable belongings and whether I possessed any substantial amounts of money. Alarm bells rang in my mind. This was no routine police check. It was a home invasion in disguise. Fear gnawed at me. I discreetly messaged my best friend, who was among the guests, urging her to dial the actual authorities. Panic intensified as Officer Daniels approached a room containing important documents and a stash of cash. His boldness escalated and it became evident that time was running out. With a surge of determination, I decided to confront him, to keep him occupied until the real police arrived. As I questioned him about the anonymous tip, his excuses faltered, and his eyes darted apprehensively around the room. The charade was unraveling. In the distance, the wailing sirens of genuine police cars grew louder, a symphony of justice approaching. Relief flooded over me, knowing that help was on its way. The imposter officer, realizing he had no escape, attempted to make a desperate move, trying to snatch my wallet and make a run for the back door. However, before he could take the step, the actual police stormed in, their authoritative presence restoring a semblance of order. Within seconds, the fake officer was apprehended. It turned out he had been preying on unsuspecting homeowners, masquerading as a police officer to facilitate his thieving endeavors. The shock that ripped through my guest mirrored the disbelief coursing through my veins. The genuine officers assured us of our safety and pledged to manage the situation. The New Year's Eve celebration, initially veering into a realm of horror, was now back on track. The party continued, but the memory of the fake officer's interruption lingered, casting a shadow over the festivities. Yet, as the night progressed and the clock ticked into the new year, I couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the timely arrival of the true police officers who averted a potential disaster. As the dawn of the new year emerged on the horizon, casting its hopeful light, I found solace in the resilience of the human spirit and the unwavering commitment of those who protect and serve. The unexpected danger had underscored the fragility of the celebratory bubble that we had created. A reminder that peril could lurk in the most unexpected places. Yet, with the support of friends and the timely intervention of the authorities, we emerged unscathed, ready to face the challenges and joys that the new year held.